Hello, this is how to make a cheese toasty, also known as grilled cheese. First, you get your chosen cheese and you either grate some off or cut some off. How I like to do is just have a split it into strips or just break it. Whoa. Wait a minute, this cheese is supposed to be here. Sorry, I accidentally forgot about. So I forgot to put on the air fryer. Once you have enough cheese, then I'm using an air fryer. So basically, the sides where the cheese is going to go on top of, you heat up them first. Then once you put in the cheese, once the cheese is on one of the two sides, so you put the cheese on one, you flip over it, put it on there, and then you first cook it on one side to make a nice crisp, and then do on the other side. Well, you can make it with different cheeses, but I just chose my favourite British Red Leicester cheese. And then usually takes a bit of time for the actual air fryer to heat up and everything. And later on today I will show you how to make beans on toast. And just while you wait for that, if you want to use other ingredients, I would recommend to do stuff like add ones that will make the cheese nicer. And just while you wait, get everything out, and then eventually while you heat up, if you add a tiny bit of cheese, you could make a nice crisp, just make it taste better. It's your choice, but for the cheese toasty, once the air fryer is ready, you add the bread, and once it's ready, you put the cheeses between the two slices of toast, and cook one side, then cook the other side. And then once it's good, you can cut it. But you can use more than two slices of bread. You can use one. You can make as many as you want. The cheese toasties / grilled cheese, they take quite a bit of time to make. You need to get the cheese cut or grated. You need the bread to get cut or buy already cut bread, and then the time it takes to cook it makes it so it will take a bit of time. And if you use an air fryer, it will be different. Okay, so you just go and add these slices of bread to the air fryer. And once you've added the bread, just wait like a few minutes, then make it a sandwich and add cheese, then have it on one side to make it crisp. And another thing, if you want to make toast in an air fryer, I would recommend place 1 or 2 slices in the air fryer, let them once it's heated up, and then eventually flip them over to make them a nice crisp, and quite a lot of different toasts. Toasties slash grilled cheeses use meat. I'm just using cheese just because I like cheese. And then eventually, while you do it, you will make a nice crisp. If you want it to, well, for an air fryer, I prefer it to using a toaster because the air fryer nice taste and nice crisp. But if you say, well, for me the best crispiness for a toaster is a nice taste, but for an air fryer it's really good. I'm just waiting 2 minutes, and you can make quite a lot of different sorts of toast. Like you can add ham, pickles, onions, whatever you like, but I'm just doing cheese. And for other ingredients, add it with the other ingredients. Okay, so flip that around, and I add the cheese onto the bread. Once you add, if you don't that the cheese will you could just make it so that the cheese melts a bit for like a minute or two, just to make it a nice melted layer of cheese to make it taste delicious. And you can make it different ways, and if you really want it to be extremely delicious, you could add some condiments. But if you do, sometimes it will taste better, sometimes it won't. And it usually takes you can make it from anywhere to a few minutes to like an hour, just depends on how much, if you want to add extra effort. And then once the cheese is melted a bit, use the knife to spread out the cheese. And if the cheese isn't melted enough, continue melting it. And then once it's continued melting and you're ready to flip it over, remember, you might need to add a bit more cheese. So I'm just going to quickly add a bit more cheese, just for when it is the next step. You need to add cheese onto the sides, just so it doesn't completely just melt in the middle, because if it only melts in the middle, it won't be that good, because you need it to be a nice all-round cheese layer. And just break it up, and then even though it's quite crisp, you just need to add a bit of cheese to some of the edges, just to make it so it has nice all-round cheese. And then once you've added any extra cheese if needed, you go on and add the side which originally had cheese on onto the other side. And then it's time for you to cook it. And then it really depends if you want it extra crispy. But in my opinion, the cheese does matter. If you want it to be nice, use a cheese that you like. But I wouldn't recommend adding too many different sorts of cheeses. And cheese toasty, you can add beans with it. I'm not going to do it though. I will do it later on. Just make some beans on toast. And cheese toasties are delicious. And also, they aren't the easiest thing. I could literally make a cheese sandwich and it'll be a lot easier, but not as tasty as a cheese toasty. Cheese toasties are usually delicious. And at some points, just check. And the cheese toasty, you want to make sure that it has a nice crisp. And also cheese toasties, you just add the cheese. The actual main hard thing is if you're using an air fryer, taking it out of the air fryer, which is the main issue. And to take out the cheese toasty. Okay, this looks really nice, having a nice crisp. And so let's see the cheese pull. Oh, there isn't that much. Delicious.